All right, in other news this morning, history has been made in our state. Yesterday marked the first televised hearing in former President Donald Trump's case, in which he and 18 other people are charged with trying to overturn Georgia's 2020 presidential election results. As expected, none of them showed up in court yesterday. They waived their right to appear, but at some point, they will all have to show up. Former Trump lawyers Kenneth Chesebro and Sidney Powell said they're ready to go, but they want separate trials. In a hearing yesterday, the judge denied them that request. Chesebro is facing charges tied to a scheme to use fake electors to give Donald Trump Georgia's electoral votes. Powell is charged in connection with alleged attempts to steal data from Coffee County voting machines. But since they're both ready for court in October, Judge Scott McAfee said they'll go together. Now, Fulton County prosecutors say they have 150 witnesses to call in this entire case, and estimated the trials, no matter how many of them there are, will last around 4 months each. Now, no matter when those trials start or how long they'll take, Atlanta News First is going to be there every step of the way. So to get caught up on the investigation against former President Trump and his allies, download the free Atlanta News First app. And hey, visit the Trump investigation page. We have a long list of details for you there.